Welcome to Kenya, Arizona Diaspora Hope TV. And kama kawaida, this is where we restore hope. And kama venye nawambianga now and then, that God is not yet done with you. And today, I have an amazing guest. So without much ado, nataka introduce mjue yeye ni nani, what he does, and I'm sure you will love this. So karibu sana, thank you for coming. Welcome to Arizona Diaspora Hope TV.
Thank you very much.
So now I request you to just say hi to our viewers. Waambie wewe ni nani, your names, where you come from, then we shall continue.
Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
My name is Pastor NJERU. I'm a born-again Christian.
Amen.
And I come from Embu. That is where I was born.
Wow.
And I have done some few things. The area that I am in now is poetry.
Wow.
And book writing.
And
when we talk about poetry, I started doing poetry way back in 1985.
1985?
Yes.
Wait, 1985. You imagine 1985, ulikuwa wapi? My director, where are you? Go wapi 1985? That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
So leo tutaona, we shall understand his journey. He's doing poetry and he's doing amazing job. He's serving God in that area, and also he's a pastor. So we will learn how to balance the two. You're a pastor, you're doing writing, you're serving God even with your talents. So you started at 19?
I started in 1985.
85.
That was here in Nairobi. There was a church I was attending that time, Deliverance Church, actually. And I was a member of the youth.
So by then you are a youth?
I was a youth
Okay,
member.
okay.
And I was writing poetry. So when the youth was told to present something, my duty was to present a testimony or a poem.
All right.
Or a poem.
Yes.
So I continued like that.
But by then you are doing written poems by other people?
No, I was trying to create my
own
poetry.
Okay.
My own poetry.
Okay.
And then I continued like that. And I used to recite these poems in the church and in the weddings. And also because I was an evangelist, I was being invited in schools and churches and colleges, places of higher learning in Kenya and also in Uganda and Tanzania.
Wow!
So I crisscrossed Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and I used also to recite those poems.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's get back a little. At what point did you feel that thing is in me of writing poems?
Okay, that was in 1985.
Okay.
Something just welled up in me, and I just started writing.
Okay.
And I tell you, I struggled a lot. And what I can say today is what I thought was poetry by that time was not really pure poetry.
What was it?
It was not following the rules.
The rules, I understand.
Poetry, and I had not been trained.
I love that.
So I was just thinking what to do, and I was God through that.
I love that. And I always tell, and I will still insist to our viewers, ensure that your gift is sharpened.
Amen.
That's what you are talking about.
Yes.
You had a gift, but it wasn't sharpened.
It wasn't.
So if you are a musician, ensure you sharpen your gift. If you are a writer, ensure you are trained. Amen. And you sharpen the gift. That's what you are talking about.
That's very true.
You thought you were doing poetry, but you, according to the rules of the poetry, it was something else.
It was something else. Yet people used to enjoy it, and they thought it was
until, you know, by the way, sometimes where you start from, people will clap at you and tell you you're doing the right thing until God lifts you to now to what we call to professionals.
Yes.
You know those levels now, when you start dealing with professionals, now you shall realize, man, I've been doing the wrong thing all through.
Yes.
Yes. So you started doing it in
Yes.
1985.
1985.
Uh-huh.
And then I continued preaching and giving testimonies and whatever, and the poetry itself. I continued until 1995. The urge to write or recite poetry stopped.
It died.
It is stopped.
Why?
I really don't know.
Or were
But
you,
It is stopped.
or did someone discourage you? Or what?
No.
It just stopped.
It just stopped. The interest faded. The poems that I had written, I even don't remember them.
What do you mean?
Yes, I may remember one or two, but I cannot be able even to recite it.
Yes.
And then I continued like that, serving God in other areas until 2012.
2012.
Yes.
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years, yes. When God spoke to me audibly and told me, write poems.
I love that.
And that voice was so clear to me. He was speaking to my spirit. My senses, my mind was like spectator. So I had conversation between God and my spirit. And God said, write poems. And the spirit asked me, which poems? And God replied, like the ones you are writing when you were in deliverance church.
What?
And my spirit asked, how? And God said, choose some topics, write them down, and start writing poems about them.
Wow.
That was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
Wow.
So I said, I'm going to obey. I chose some topics, I wrote them down, I started writing poems about them. That was the hardest thing that God had ever given me.
I can imagine.
It was hard. But when you start obeying God,
Yes.
God opens a door.
Exactly.
So God opened a door, and I attended a college, a training college.
Wow.
Strictly for poetry and book writing, creative writing, which was very important. So I was trained how to write, what poetry is, how to write poems, and what books are, and how to write a good book.
Wow.
Because not all the books that are written
Yes.
can captivate your mind.
Of course.
There is a book you can start reading, and after 2-3 chapters, you lose the interest.
Yes.
But there is another book, which even when you are eating, you are reading that
Of
book.
course.
There is a technique about writing this, and somebody has really been coached.
I love that. But that door opened after you obeyed.
Yeah, it opened after I obeyed.
But by the time God was speaking, there was no way. You didn't know what to do, how to even start.
That's why my spirit was asking, how?
How?
Yeah.
You know, I always tell people, just obey. You just obey the Lord. Like he told Abraham, just move out to the land that I'll show you.
Amen.
And after just obey. So our part is to obey. Then God continued creating a way.
Amen.
Now, which was the first topic you thought of before going to the college?
The poetry that I thought of writing,
Yes.
it was a poem about, because the poems which I write are poems which are Christian.
Yes.
And they are called poems with a living message.
Wow.
So I thought,
it's like you're preaching through a poem.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to write a poem about Paul, the apostle,
Really?
and how he was converted,
Amazing.
and how he became a mighty apostle.
Yes.
But it was very hard.
Yes, sir.
I couldn't. It was very hard. And then, when God opened the door
For the training.
I even did not do the Apostle Paul poetry well, but other poems now started coming. I also had some friends who were helping me.
Wow.
They had some friends who were versed in poetry who were helping me.
No.
They knew I was doing this college thing.
When was that? When was that?
That was from 2012. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, after college, what was the name of the college?
It is in Brunswick, Maine.
Okay.
Brunswick, Maine.
Oh. Now, after college, now how many poems have you written?
I've written over 100 poems.
Really?
Yes. Over
100
poems.
That's amazing.
And they are well written. I want to say they are well written by the ones who will listen to them or read them.
Yes.
They can also, deliver the verdict.
Of course.
But there are poems which have been worked on a lot. And one thing which I came to realize while I was writing, when you write a poem, you may think it's a great poem, but just put it aside for some time. Come and look at it again. You see, oh, I missed here. I could have done this and that. I could have done this and that. And even the longer it stays, when you work on it, the better it will
becomes.
Yes. And then number two, you have to read it loud to yourself and you hear how it is moving. Okay? Or read it to a friend and let him tell you how it's going and where you can rain on it. Yes.
I love that. And now talking about another area, I mean the music, I'm an artist. So somebody one time actually taught us that and I embraced that. Before you even write a song, ensure someone else listens.
Amen.
Otherwise, you just do a song and people are like, no, you missed a very nice point here. Yeah, so it's also very important to ensure someone else listens. But ensure it's a transparent person, someone you can trust. Because not everyone you tell about your vision, some can just discourage you. Yeah?
And others will run away with it.
Yes, others will run away with it. If it's a poem, the next time you are singing it, it's written. Yes. You're like, no, this is my poem.
This is my poem.
So I love that. And now, how have you been? Now you've written over 100 poems.
Yes.
Now, how have you been doing them? Have you been giving people to recite, or have you been reciting them yourselves, or are you even thinking of publishing them, or how have you been?
Okay, before we come to that,
yes,
poetry is quite hard.
Okay.
And sometimes poetry is quite hard.
Yes.
And sometimes you try to write it and you find as if you are repeating yourself. But there are so many types of poems. There are more than 20 types of poems. So if you are trained and you know there is a poem of 2 lines only, it has its name. Okay? There is a poem of 3 lines and it has a name. There is a poem of 4 lines which is very popular. A poem of 5 lines. There are some called tassets. They are quatrain, like that one of 4 lines is a quatrain. A poem is supposed to have a certain number of verses. There are others which are not limited. Now you have a wiggle room.
All right, I see.
So you will not be writing a poem of only 4 lines, which is called
you can maneuver.
Now you can challenge yourself to write of 3 lines,
sure,
or 5 lines, or 7 lines,
sure,
and then it becomes easier. And when you will present it to people, they will not be bored, because someone can write poetry and he uses only the quatrain type of poetry, which is 4 lines,
yes,
4 lines, 4 lines, 4 lines.
It
becomes somehow monotonous.
Yes.
Sure. But there are poems even of 3 lines only.
And they make sense.
They make a lot of sense. Called haiku, the Japanese poem called haiku, is 3 lines, but it has got its rules and regulations. They are one of the hardest anyway to write and make sense.
Sure.
But, and people may not think whether it's a poem, but people know about poetry. They'll know this is a poem.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So have you been only writing or even reciting them yourself?
Mostly I have written. Reciting, I've not recited a lot.
Yes.
But, you know, I have started reciting.
You have started reciting?
When a door opens.
Okay,
yes,
you do.
I recite.
Okay. Have you ever thought of maybe, have you ever written a poem for somebody for them to recite?
Somebody asking you, can you write a poem for me about this and that?
Yes.
No, I have not. But nobody has really requested.
All right.
It's not that I won't help somebody like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, because
I'm ready meant to help.
Yeah. Now, other than writing poetry, you know, do you write books or something?
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for asking. I'm into book writing.
Okay.
That program which I did in college, it involved, it is creative writing, creative language.
Yes.
So, a long time ago, when I was in high school, I tried to write a book. Okay?
I love that you're ambitious.
I tried to write a book.
Yes.
And when I left high school, I was employed. I continued writing this book.
Okay.
I thought I was writing a very good book.
I
was very courageous. I went even to the Heinemann Educational Board to present that book so that they can publish it.
Yes.
Here in Nairobi, they were in International Lighthouse. We are talking of about almost 50 years. That's how challenging I was. And actually they received the book and they read it. And when they read it, they actually wrote back to me to go back and collect the book. They posted it back to me and they told me, sorry, it's not the type of books they publish. So I was discouraged. And I read everything for so long time until God also talked to me about writing a book. When you ask about writing a book, it is also something which God talked to me. During that time when he was talking to me about writing poetry.
All right.
After about 1 year, he told me, write a book about healing.
Wow.
The same way he talked to my spirit, write a book about healing. And my spirit asked him, what do I know about healing? Then God said, you remember the cases which you used to pray for? The cases which you used to go and pray for? The Spirit kept quiet. And then in my mind, all the cases that I had prayed for people and people had been healed, they were played like in a movie.
Wow.
Instantaneously.
Yes.
And remembrance came in my head. Because some of them were 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And everything was very vivid in my mind. That time, the Spirit has kept quiet. Then God continued and said, write a book about them.
Wow.
You have enough material.
Wow.
Period.
Wow. Wow.
That was moving. God has never talked to me like that.
Wow.
And it was very challenging. And at the same time, I didn't know how to write a good book.
I can imagine.
I did it. Remember the one I had written had been turned down about 40 years ago now?
Of course. And what did you do? Did you write?
What I did, when I joined the college,
yes,
I told God, yes, I will. And I wrote down the cases that I had prayed for, and people had been healed.
You listed them down.
I listed them. I don't want to forget. Okay?
Yeah.
And he has said a book about healing. So when I was being trained, you know, when I was in the college, learning about poetry writing and book writing,
Sure.
now I realized how a book needs to be written through this training. So I embarked also on a book concerning healing.
Wow.
Yeah, because those early days, God used to send me to speak to me and tell me, go and pray for so and so. You see? A very challenging situation.
Wow.
But I don't want to preempt the book.
I know.
And also sometimes we could go to high school or college during riot time or challenge weekend, and people could come being sick students. We could pray for them together with the team that we are facilitating the meeting, and people could get healed.
Wow.
So I had a track record.
Yes.
And it's like, it is, God has also given me the gifts of healing.
Wow.
So I operate on the gifts of healing.
Sure.
So that book, I have managed to write a book,
Wow.
but it is now with the publishers.
Wow. That means very soon, by God's grace, we shall launch it. We shall launch the book.
Very soon, by God's grace, maybe by the end of this year,
Wow.
we will launch the book.
Thank you. And I hope we shall launch it here.
Amen.
Now,
Amen.
let's go to something else. Now you're a minister, you've been a pastor, and now you're still writing books. How have you been able to manage the two? Is it challenging, or how have you been able to manage the two?
Thank you very much. You have to put a lot of effort.
Sure. And also to say you are a family man, you're a father.
Yes.
Now you have a church.
And a grandfather.
You are a grandfather. You have a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
When it comes to writing,
Yes.
you have to put a lot of effort, and you have to be serious about it. When you are writing a book, if you can be able to write 50 words, 50 words, you have done a great job in a day.
50 words in a day.
Yes, and you have written them grammatically correct, you have polished them, you are doing very good. If you write 100, you are so. That is how I was taught. And really that is how it is. If you see somebody writing 200 words in a day, wow, that guy is gifted.
Wow.
Well gifted.
Wow.
So can you imagine if you have a book which you are writing and maybe it is like 50,000 words.
It will take a lot of time.
Yeah,
And commitment.
And commitment. It's not something which you can just brush off and write.
And you know, I'm challenged.
And now, remember, this is a book about God, about things of God. And you know, God is a perfection.
Of course.
God likes number one.
I love that.
Top of the line.
Yes.
That's what He wants.
Yes.
And He has got capability to bless you to achieve that.
Wow.
And even when you finish the 50 words, if you have got a friend of yourself, give him. Let him read. Let him challenge the grammar. Okay? Let him challenge all those things.
Yes.
Let him see the word play and word. It all has a lot of things to do.
Oh, and you know, I'm challenged at your age. You're writing books, and we have a lot of youths, including myself. I've not written even a poem. Is it that we are not gifted? Is it that we are lazy or what?
No, you are not lazy. And you are gifted.
Yeah.
But you see my gifting coming up when I'm very old, when I'm mellow.
Sure.
You see?
Yes.
And number two, for you to write a book, you must read books.
Yeah, you must equip yourself.
And the youth is sometimes very busy. And not the youth alone,
Yes.
even other people, you are
Yes.
very busy to read books.
Sure.
But I would advise somebody who wants to write a book, first of all, read at least 20 or 30 books. Read even if it's 50.
20 or 30, at least.
At least. And read the award-winning books.
I love that.
Okay, like if you are writing if you are a Christian and you are writing a book, read the books written by Christians. Okay.
I love that. And so that means, and I will take it broader. If you are a public speaker, you want to do public speaking, watch people who have done public speaking in your area and they have succeeded. So if I'm a musician, I should look for people, listen to music, try to of the people who have done the same and they are successful.
Yes, and even if it is possible, if you can talk to them, meet them, talk to them, have lunch with them, ask them, how did you come to the limelight? How did you start it?
Yes.
How do you do it?
I love that.
But this thing of thinking about it and doing
na
it.
kujitokeza yani. And I think that's why most people mess up and they miss it. Wow. My viewers, that is wisdom. That is what we call wisdom. And now, can you tell us, I know, some of the challenges you are faced in writing, specifically poetry, writing, the challenges?
Some of the challenges is to write a good poem. A poem that people can read or you can recite to them and they say, wow, that is a good poem. That poem has ministered to me. So, how do I overcome that challenge? I take it very seriously because it is the king's business. Remember, he is the one who said write poems. So I pray to him. I pray to God to guide me. Yes, I have come across challenges like, how to tweak this poem so that it can bring up the message of God in the best way possible. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Even if you have gone to college and taught all these things, it's still a challenge to get the right word. Okay, they say poetry is getting the right word at the right time. Saying what you want to say with the fewest words.
Saying what you want to say
with the fewest words
possible.
If you cannot add anything to that poem, any word to that poem, to that verse, then you have written something good.
Wow.
So no unnecessary words. The right word and at the right time.
I see. Now,
it's challenging.
For all this now, or for all these poems that you have written, have you published them or not?
I've not published.
Okay.
Remember, there is a book with the publisher.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Okay. So I will wait for that book and launch it. Then I can embark on
the poems.
On the poems.
Publishing them now.
Yes.
That's nice. Now, I want you to speak to somebody there. Maybe somebody who feels they can write or they are talented and they are afraid. How do I start? How do I go about it? Encourage that one person.
Thank you very much. If you are there, you feel you are called to write poetry or to write a book, or there is something nagging in you to write about.
Yes.
Number one, please go ahead and try to do it. But one of the most important things, try and talk to people who have written poetry and ask them how they do it. Try and talk to people who have written a book or books and tell them, get something from them, how they do it, how you can do yours best. And this is also challenging. So, one thing I have come up with when it comes to poetry, I have developed something called poetry, Christian poetry workshop. It is needed Because, first of all, God is a poet.
Yes.
God has communicated to us through poetry. The oldest book in the Bible is John. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 is written in prose. The remaining 40 chapters is pure poetry.
Wow.
So the oldest book in the Bible is poetry.
Wow.
And other books which have been written in poetry in the Bible, of course, you know, is Psalms, the whole of it is poetry.
Sure.
Proverbs, Songs of Solomon,
Yes.
Ecclesiastes,
Yes.
you know, all those are written in pure poetry. Other books which are written in poetry are like Jeremiah, you know, is poetry. And there is another one, Amos. Books like Amos or Micah, they have got another type of poetry which is called graduated numbers or numerical parallel, they say. I tell you, sir, there's a lot of poetry in the Bible.
In the Bible.
And I came to realize it when I started going to study about poetry.
It's very, wow, that's great.
A book like Psalms, this chapter 119, it's the longest chapter in the Bible.
Sure.
It comprises of 177, something like that, or 176
Sure.
verses. Isn't it?
Yes.
That is pure poetry. It's written in the poetry called this poetry of two verses.
Yeah.
Okay? And then it is separated into verses. Like each verse has got 8 of those poems. And every verse starts with the alphabet of the Jews, Hebrews. So verse number 1 starts with Aleph, which is the first alphabet of Hebrew. Verse number 2, it starts with Beth, until it goes to verse number 22, the last one, which is called Tav.
Wow.
I may not pronounce them well because I'm not a Jew.
Yeah.
So when we are reading Psalm 119, if you know how much time was spent to write it, articulate it, with that poetry called the couplet, the two verses, you just wonder, you say God is reading poetry.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, for people to write engaging poems,
Sure.
they need to be trained.
Wow.
You know, Ecclesiastes 10:10, New King James Version, it says, if the axe is done, you have until dawn, and you do not sharpen it, you will use more force. But wisdom brings success.
Wow. I love that.
So we have to be trained.
And yeah, sure. And I agree. And you told me about something about workshop that you have.
The Christian poetry workshop.
Sure.
Now its work is to train those one who feel they are called, or they feel they want to write poetry,
Sure.
so that they can be better poets.
Wow.
They can learn more. So this one I want to engage with the churches. I've not started engaging with the churches. I want to engage with the churches so that we can have a forum. If the pastor can release his people who want to be taught poetry, those ones who have giftings of poetry.
Wow. And can I allow me now to ask this?
Yes.
Even as we wind up, so because I want you to, of course, recite 1 or 2 poems.
Okay.
To answer. Is spoken word in the category of poetry?
Spoken word is in the category of poetry, but of its own nature.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I get
It's
it.
of its own nature.
I get it.
I love it, but I don't know how to write it.
Sure. Okay.
But there are people who are very much gifted with the spoken word.
Wow. Now I want you to maybe to recite 1 or 2 of your best poems. As we wind up.
There is one poem called Don't Fight with the arrows and bow. Don't fight with the arrows and bow. You are pilgrims on progress. Since here we reap what we sow. Life is transient, that you know. Don't be tempted to digress. Don't fight with the arrows and bow. And this life is high and low. It is the main source of stress. Since here we reap what we sow. Trials are many, I told you so. From this side to that they press. Don't fight with the arrows and bow. Plant wheat and you reap its more. Cross like petals grow in grace. Since here we reap what we sow. To overcome every foe, in spirit gear we must dress. Don't fight with the arrows and bow. Since here we reap what we sow.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
And it is the only poem I've translated into Kiswahili.
Really?
And it goes like, usipigane na mishale na upinde, wewe umsafiri anayeendelea, maana hapa twavuna tupandacho. Maisha ni safari, wajua hivyo, usijaribiwe kutoka njiani, usipigane na mishale na upinde. Na maisha haya ni kupanda na kushuka, ndicho kitu kikubwa kinacholeta stress, maana hapa twavuna tupandacho. Majaribu ni mengi, nilikwambia hivyo, upande kwa upande yanatubana, usipigane na mishale na upinde. Panda ngano na utavuna matuta, maua kama msalaba huchanuka kwa grace, maana hapa twavuna tupandacho. Kumshinda kila adui ni lazima tuvae mavazi ya kiroho. Usipigane na kwa mishale na upinde, maana hapa twavuna.
Wow.
So you can hear the message.
Exactly.
Christian message.
Sure.
No wonder they are called poems with a living message.
Wow. That's amazing.
That one is of the type called Villanelle. It is strictly structured. The way you hear it, it's very strictly structured. And it is rhyming. The way it's rhyming is the way it should.
Sure.
And I also added more. Every line has got 7 syllables.
Right.
And it is a tough thing, but it is doable.
Wow.
And the more you polish it like that, the more it becomes engaging, and the more it flows. It has what we call cadence.
Wow.
People may think it's easy, but when they know what has been, how much time has been taken for it to be written,
yes,
to be the way it is, but they will not know.
Until they do it.
Until they do it.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. So I want you to give your closing remarks. I know, and I trust God that we shall have you more and more, one more time, and other more times discussing the same, even your books and other broader items. Because I know you're also a pastor, But I want you to give your maybe final remarks, and also you can say hi to 2 or 3 people. And it's, if you're okay with that, you can give your contact, because for anyone who would like maybe to enroll to the workshop that you've just told us, maybe it's a pastor who wants to enroll the youths or other people in the same, or an individual who may like to enroll in the same. You can also give your details where they can get you ili wakupate.
First of all, I thank you very much and the organization for this wonderful time to give me a platform whereby I can engage with you.
Most welcome.
And God bless you very much.
Amen.
I also want to thank the viewers who will be viewing.
Sure.
And may God bless you so much.
Amen.
And I believe even that one poem, "Don't fight with arrows and bow," will bless you, and there are more and more.
Sure.
And also I want to inform them that this poem, "Don't fight with arrows and bow," usipigane na mishale na upinde, it is in Sikiza.
Wow.
So it's already in the mtandao.
Wow. And how do we get it? Ukitaka kusikiza utaipataje?
Okay, if you call me,
Yes.
I've set it as my Sikiza.
Okay.
And you hear the telephone telling you, if you want to set this as your Sikiza, dial this and this and that.
Sure,
Okay?
just copy it.
And number 2, if somebody wants, I can also send the code.
The codes.
Because I have the codes.
Wow.
I can send through WhatsApp.
That's nice. That's great. That's great. Now, do you have 2 or 3 people that you can say hi to? And also, you can give your number, because I'm sure watu wanaweza taka kukupigia ili wajue watakupata wapi in case they want to enroll in the workshop or something.
Okay. The ones I want to say hi to,
Yes.
it's one of them is the leader of our home church, Safari Group. It's called Eric Mwendwa.
Wow.
Hi, Eric Mwendwa and your family. The others is my daughter, Christine, in California.
Wow.
Hi, Christine. And the other one is Isabel Nyambura. She is in Washington.
Wow.
Washington State.
Okay.
Hi, Isabel. The other one is my son David in Arizona. Hi, David.
Wow.
How are you? And the last one is my son Joseph.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Are you comfortable giving your contacts maybe for?
Very comfortable.
Yes, sir.
My telephone number is 0790617201. I repeat, 0790617201. Call me with that number.
Wow.
And we will engage.
Thank you so much.
And you are welcome.
Thank you so much, sir, for reserving some time for us. We are so grateful. Na najua tutakuita leo tena tutakuita, because I believe and I know you have a lot to tell us and to enlighten other people. To our viewers, they are ensure that you reach out, let us share this message, tufikie watu wengi kama kawaida, and may God bless you. And don't forget, usipigane kwa mishale na upinde. Have I got anything?
Amen.
Yeah? Thank you. I love that. So until next time, I've been your host, Dennis Munene. God bless you.